Let me read to you a passage from the 6th chapter of St. Mark's Gospel, verses 34 to 44. It's the Gospel for January the 8th, after the Feast of the Epiphany. St. Mark writes, "As Jesus stepped ashore, he saw a large crowd, and he took pity on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he set himself to teach them at some length. By now it was getting very late, and his disciples came up to him and said, 'This is a lonely place, and it is getting very late to send them away. So send them away so that they can go to the farms and villages round about to buy themselves something to eat.' He replied, 'Give them something to eat yourselves.' They answered, 'Are we to go and spend 200 denarii on bread for them to eat?' 'How many loaves have you?' he asked. 'Go and see.' And when they had found out, they said 5 and 2 fish. Then he ordered them to get all the people together in groups on the green grass, and they sat down on the ground in squares of hundreds and fifties. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, raised his eyes to heaven and said the blessing. Then he broke the loaves and handed them to his disciples to distribute among the people. He also shared out the 2 fish among them, and they all ate as much as they wanted. They collected 12 baskets full of scraps of bread and pieces of fish. Those who had eaten the loaves numbered 5,000 men." That's from Mark chapter 6, verses 34 to 44, for January the 8th. And what does it suggest to us? Well, years ago I read a piece by the famous British journalist Malcolm Muggeridge, since deceased. Muggeridge was an outstanding commentator, and he contributed significantly to bringing the person of Mother Teresa of Calcutta to the attention of the world. In his article, he wrote that he always had the ambition of being a light for others. From being an agnostic, perhaps even an atheist, he came to embrace Catholicism through, I think, his association with Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Being a light, that was his ambition. And he became a light because of his Christian faith and the talents that he had to manifest it. Muggeridge's article that I referred to reminded me of the world's need for a light. In every generation, there are numerous persons clamouring for prominence and who claim, in one way or another, to be a light for others. For instance, a communist regime holds control of a vast country and refuses any other opinion. It believes itself to be the light for that nation, while itself being in darkness and doing much harm in the process. Or again, a populist gains power through a country's democratic processes and gradually exploits his position to impose a dictatorship in the name of a socialism for the sake of the poor. He regards himself as the light for the people, and he proceeds to suppress freedoms and to curtail the rights of the church. He is oblivious to the darkness that envelops him, and from which, and from him, it spreads to so many others. One of the fascinating things to consider in human history is simply the contrariety of viewpoints and firmly held convictions. People hold diametrically opposed views with utter conviction as to their truth. This recurring and almost universal phenomenon, generation after generation, has led many philosophers and those influenced by them to think that there is no such thing as an objective truth, and that the only truth is what is useful or preferable. Others implicitly accept the possibility that opposite convictions may each be true. But the absurdity of all this will not do. The long and the short of it all is that the human race needs a light from on high. We need a light. In our gospel passage today, we read that as Jesus stepped ashore, he saw a large crowd, and he took pity on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he set himself to teach them at some length. The large crowd that awaited our Lord we can surely view as an image of the world, except for the fact that so very much of the world does not understand its own plight. But the world awaits its teacher, and the Christian claim is that Christ is the true light of the world. And this claim derives from Christ himself. He claimed to be the light of the world, and that anyone who does not walk in the light which is him walks in the darkness. Of course, the light of the Son of God pervades creation, because it is through him that all things came to be. But the point here is that it is from him that man's true light derives. Its source is Jesus Christ, the Son of God made man. And in our gospel passage today, we have this very person, Jesus, stepping forward to guide the crowds who were like sheep without a shepherd. That was his judgment on their condition. They were like sheep without a shepherd. And moreover, he was filled with pity for them, symbolizing in the process the pity that fills the heart of Christ for all men and for each of us as we search our way towards salvation. Christ had no doubt about the matter, nor did he leave any doubts in the minds of his disciples. He himself is the light of the world, and the only light. He was the only way to the Father. He is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. No other religious leader or philosopher would have dared to make such claims, but Christ did so with calm and consistent assurance. And we who are his disciples similarly must bear calm and unambiguous witness to the central role of the person of Jesus, the role that Jesus occupies in our unceasingly troubled world. The great family of man is like a vast concourse of sheep without a shepherd. Christ is the good shepherd who looks on all with compassion and who is the guide and the light of each and all. So let us place ourselves in the company of Jesus as we think of our gospel passage today, and resolve to be his disciples in real earnest. Let us understand very clearly that of ourselves we are like sheep without a shepherd, as is the world around us. Let us then take our stand with him and resolve to bring others to the recognition that in him we have the answer to our plight, an answer that has come to us from above. That answer is the person of Jesus, in whom, as St. Paul writes, is to be found every heavenly blessing.